There we go.
Episode number 2, it finally happened.
Wow. Well, what a time to be alive, huh?
What a time to be alive indeed, Jaime.
So, this week, I think we have an interesting topic. Making Alexa better, right?
Or
improving
Alexa.
Alexa.
Call it Alexa sucks. Why?
Alexa sucks.
10
yes.
reasons why Alexa sucks. No, it doesn't actually suck that much, but
right.
It's a decent product.
Interesting. Yeah. 10 reasons. It's always difficult, like with this list. Like they always call it 10 reasons or 5 reasons. Like why not 11 reasons, right? Or like 3 reasons.
I was just trying to think of like the most clickbaity title we could think of.
Right.
Like, something.
Right.
I don't know, something that's gonna shock you, right? Like 2 things about Alexa you didn't know, and the second one will shock you.
That's like there's always like in all the related articles they have like this ads. I don't know why they do that. Like even famous publishers do that. I don't really understand. Like they must make a ton of money. Like if you're a publisher of these things listening to us by any chance from our very wide audience, please reach out to us and explain how this business works, because I'm puzzled by it.
Well, I mean, you just get the most amount of clicks that you can, right? Maximize ad impressions.
It is. But
too
do
many
they
people
even get paid for that? Yeah.
Well, from the few users that don't have an ad blocker, which apparently is like 80% of people don't have one, according to some websites that I checked. Yeah, because we were just looking into that at work. Because of our analytics, I was wondering how many people don't see them because of ad blockers, basically. Interesting. I don't know. Wow. So back to topic, Alexa. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm always I love when I show people ad blocker and like they never heard of it or anything like that, and I just install it for them. Obviously, it's like a second, and they just go on the internet, like just any website, and they're like, what the hell? How did you perform this magic, this wizardry?
Where's all of the crap?
Yeah, like it's insane. It's insane that people don't know this. I'm sure it'll become a setting at some point. Well, but talking about things getting smarter, let's talk about Alexa. Yeah, so I think you have some strong thoughts, Alejandro, today for us.
I mean, I don't know. I bought a few when it was Black Friday. Bought a few of them, put them in different rooms. Put some lights as well that are connected to them. It's just like little things where it's like, I'm not sure if it's just like too many people at Amazon are working on Alexa, and that means that, it's one of those things where there's so many people that it's really hard to make improvements, or they just don't really care. Because with the lights, for example, like you can say, let's say, Alexa, turn on the lights. But if you say, Alexa, turn on all the lights, sometimes it'll be like, oh, I don't know a device called all the lights. And you're like, really? I mean, no one tried that. Like, you don't have some sort of test team and they said, you should understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess all this testing and UX and language barriers is the most expensive part of the process, probably. Like, I don't know how they put together the actual language side of things. But I think seeing at Amazon's business model for devices, I think they just make the thing like as cheaply as possible, and then they just put it out there, try to get adoption, and then eventually work their way up to it. Yeah. And compared to Siri and Google, I mean, I haven't used the Google one much, to be honest, but Siri is just alright. Like, it's just limited. It's alright. Yeah. Even though it was like one of the earliest. Was Alexa before? Anyways. But yeah, I'm surprised Alexa hasn't come a longer way, considering it's the most popular for like cross-platform, especially. Yeah. So tricky.
Like I read somewhere that like nowadays having data is like such a massive business model that the best thing that you can do as a business is gather data, so that if you're Amazon, all you really care about is put out a device that works, barely enough that people will buy it, sell it as cheaply as you can afford to sell it, potentially even losing money. And just getting in as many homes as you can. Like I bought the Alexas for like £18 each with Black Friday, and for that price, you're getting a fairly decent speaker and quote unquote like a home assistant. They're probably losing money with that, but that's the thing. They're in your house. They're getting data. Everything you say to it. but it is disappointing. Like from an AI point of view or something, you'd be like, why doesn't it learn? Like, I understand if it doesn't understand what I mean once. Like if it says I don't recognize a device called all the lights, why doesn't it just say, can you tell me what you meant or something? And then I say, I meant turn off the lights, and it goes like, okay, next time I'll know.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it doesn't learn from it, right? From its mistakes.
Doesn't learn anything. Exactly.
I can read some frustration in your voice, Alejandro. Yeah, just a little bit. For context, everyone, I've seen Alex's setup, and he has like plenty of them. So it's not like he's being cheeky here and wondering if like one Alexa in the other side of the house will like understand. He has like plenty of them, like everywhere.
To be fair, it's not so much that it doesn't, like, it does understand you, as in it knows what words you've said. It doesn't know what they mean. It's not the actual language recognition or the speech recognition is pretty good, if not amazing. Like you can actually whisper to it and it knows what you've said. You can say with an accent, like a fake accent or real accent. It doesn't matter. Like it understands. It's like, well, I don't know if understand is the right word. It knows what you've said. It doesn't understand what you meant. Yeah. It's in a way, it's like the UX of Alexa doesn't work. Because I guess the UI that it offers you is a verbal one, and it just does. It's very rigid. It's like it almost feels like you're interacting with a device that just has a list of if statements, and it says if command equals this, then you do that.
Like extremely basic. It
feels extremely basic. Yeah.
Right.
But that's the thing. I guess it's not their business model.
I saw a meme recently that I don't know if you've seen it. There's like the Scooby-Doo bad guy, and then they go like they always go to pull. Remember, like the thing, like the cover from the bad guy. Yeah. So it said just like with the cover, it said like AI, and then they just went to pull, and it's like just bunch of if statements. Like it's it's not that smart, right?
Wasn't that the one someone sent today in a work chat?
Yes.
Because I was gonna post the same thing, because like that's the big sort of joke that most AI systems are basically just a lot of if statements, which may be true. I don't know. Maybe in a lot of companies.
Yeah, people confuse the terms, right? Like this machine learning. I don't even know what the difference is between AI, machine learning, and just like a very complex conditional programming. Like where do you draw the line? I guess when you use like data, right? When you use big data and things like that to power decisions.
I guess the idea is when there's like when the machine learns how to do something that you haven't explicitly coded, right?
Right. So that would be AI?
I imagine. I mean, for example, between AI and machine learning, I don't know if people draw a difference. Like I started this master's in AI, but a lot of the subjects are machine learning. Like the first few units were machine learning stuff. It's like, how do you teach the machine to do something? But still, the learning is quite, or feels quite basic. But
right, yeah. I only remember my only experience with all this stuff was the RGA, when there was this project where we were trying to do a pitch for Nike, and we were trying to get the messenger bot to be able to, so like say, I met with you in the bar and like, oh, that's some cool kicks. Like, I wonder what model they are. So I can just take a picture of your shoes and then upload it to like the Nike Messenger, and then it would tell me directly the link for those shoes. So to try to train this, we actually used Watson from IBM, and it was funny how you need to teach it enough, but not too much. So at some point, it started confusing shoes with pizza. Like it was just, so you just can't. So it was like returning, like, oh no, I think it's pizza. It's not a shoe, it's pizza. Like, no, what do you mean? Like, so you need to teach it just enough. Like,
I know what you're saying. But this really looks like pizza.
I guess it's the colors and the pattern. I don't know, man.
I know you think it's a shoe. I know, but I've seen enough pizzas in my life.
Exactly,
and
I've seen a slice of pizza, man. Like this has to be pizza.
I've seen millions of them, and this actually looks like one I saw once.
Exactly, it has that shape, like from using the image, then it has to be pizza. It must be. you're wrong. Your human eye is wrong.
That's the problem with the like a big problem with all these systems is they have like no context ever. So I don't know. Yeah. Like for example with Alexa, I use it a lot for music, so it integrates with Spotify, right? But the problem is Alexa doesn't know anything about the data that's within Spotify. So Alexa just sort of gives it what it understood you say. So if I say, play jazz, and then it understands play cheese, then it tells that to Spotify. Spotify just goes like, play cheese, cool. I'm just going to search the word cheese and play literally the first thing that comes up, whatever it is, right? And my point with all this is that if it was a DJ and I say play jazz and it doesn't quite understand me, it's gonna it's gonna think probably, well, it's telling me to play something, so it has to be music related. So even though I think they said cheese, it's probably something similar. So I'm gonna play some jazz, maybe. I don't know. What I feel is like humans make like an effort. It's like not only what you hear, but you kind of take what you heard and then apply some context to it, and you say, well, I heard these, but in this context, given this person, given the interaction, it should be one of these other things in this concept. So I'm going to disregard what I understood, and then I'll try to see if it fits something else that seems more appropriate. Alexa never does that, obviously. It just goes like, cool, I heard this, that's what I'm going to do. Like, no questions asked, And then Spotify doesn't receive any additional information. So from Spotify's point of view, it's just a text, like a textual search. Right. So to break it down for the people that maybe are not so familiar with APIs, you're saying that Spotify has like the genres, and then it has like just like search, and it just like replies with any kind of result, right? And you're saying that Alexa is handling the language processing, right? And just like exactly
play cheese, so like play text for music service is Spotify.
I think we've got a bit of a technical issue here. I could cut it.
From there on,
cutting all of these. Wait, we were frozen.
Yeah, we were
just
frozen
came back.
For a second.
I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it in post processing.
We can cut that.
Yeah, we're cutting that.
That's fine.
So
So
back.
Good. Yeah.
So you were saying.
Yes, so we have two layers to this, right? Two layers to the onion of sorts. You have the Alexa layer, which handles the language processing, and you have the Spotify layer, which is just a bunch of commands that you can tell to Spotify. So that, for people that don't know what an API is, it would have like a thing that says play a genre, and that would trigger like play a playlist within that genre, and then for play just results, it would just take the first results from like a search query.
Yeah.
So Alexa is just saying, play cheese is like this. The command, so play is like, I'm going to take the music service, I'm going to send them this word, and it's not telling Spotify, you're saying, that this came from like with no context. So Spotify doesn't know what to do with that word.
Yeah, it's like Spotify has no, it has no context. I don't know. Like maybe Alexa could say, I understood these 10 things, and for each of the 10 things that I understood, I'm going to give you the percentage of confidence I've got. Maybe
the likelihood.
So maybe I could say, I think they said cheese, but I'm like 70% sure. Maybe they said jazz with like 20%. I don't know, but obviously that makes it really complicated for Spotify and for everyone. Like, it is a really difficult problem, and maybe it's really difficult to blame this all on Alexa, because Alexa tries to be the bridge between all of these different things, where you can use it to check the weather, but also to check or to control your music, also to control your appliances at home, and it's too many things, I guess, right? They do this with those skills. Yeah.
I wonder if it's almost like someone else should come up with like a service that made this international, so people could handle like scenario, like context switching or things like that. So like a service not a service, but like a library almost that either Spotify or Alexa could integrate with, or both, where it would say like, this is the context that for this query, not just like this is the thing that I'm telling you to do, which is what Spotify probably is receiving. And then we could integrate that across the board, but then probably, because all these services are fighting against each other, it's going to be difficult to make like a standard, right? They all want to have like their own thing.
Yeah, it's the classic thing where if there's like 4 standards and you make one standard to unify all of the other ones, now you have 5 standards, right?
Well, yeah, okay.
It's the classic.
Yeah, fine. No,
it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one for sure.
I didn't suggest to create a new assistant.
Yeah,
we're not doing that, guys. Okay, no, it's not happening.
I think it's probably just it's just a big problem of how difficult it actually is to understand what someone means. Like when someone says do this, it can be quite hard to actually know exactly what they mean. Because ideally you would maybe say turn on that light and like just kind of point at it or something. But now Alexa, we need cameras and all that stuff, so you need to always say which one. Alexa doesn't know anything about the concept of lights or where they are, so it's all a very complicated problem.
Yeah, I mean, I shared your vision there. I wish that were a thing for sure. But like, it'd be difficult even for yourself to explain, I think, your own words to someone else. Yeah. Imagine to a computer, right? Like, exactly. Imagine you want to have someone else do this thing. So you're like, turn off that light. And then it's like, wait, which one? And like, oh, the one in the corners, which corner? Like, so imagine if that's difficult between two humans, then human to machine. Yeah, it's quite tricky. I wish it were like all more integrated though. Like, there's so many barriers and everyone wants their own system. Like, I don't know if you've seen the battle between Spotify and Apple Music and what's happening there, but it's just crazy, right? They're making collaborations with their own speaker makers and just Spotify essentially is not developing anything for Apple products anymore, even though Apple allows it now, just because they want to keep saying that Apple doesn't allow it. Because it looks better, it's better press. Yeah. They're not interested.
It's a bit of a weird one because
business politics. I guess.
I mean, what can you do, right? Like you can't. I mean, I guess that's where law comes in. Like governments could actually say, you're forced to. Maybe something like you're not allowed to not. Essentially, when you're a manufacturer, something where they don't allow you as a manufacturer to block any other competitors from putting software in your product or something. I guess what I'm trying to think is that let's start with an example. When you buy AirPods, as soon as you open the box, they show up in the phone, right? And we talked about it, you and me once. Like when you open them, you see a pop-up and it says, "Do you want to pair these AirPods?" But I've never seen that with any other brand of headphones, of Bluetooth headphones. Normally you have to press something to go into pairing mode and then it shows up in Bluetooth. And I was like, well, that's a bit unfair, right? Like, so going back to my point, maybe by law, a manufacturer should always have to give everyone the same sort of technologies that it uses itself. So if you're Apple, you can't make like an exception for Apple Music. Like you need to give Spotify the same sort of access to things. If when it comes to Bluetooth headphones, everyone needs to have the same.
It's tricky. That's what I think Epic with Fortnite and Spotify are fighting for, saying that even though iPhone, iOS, blah blah, has become, even though it's part of Apple, is part of their intellectual property, it's become such a common platform that it's almost like a necessity for it to be accessible.
Exactly, it really is. Like ideally it would be some sort of open system that's owned by some sort of global, I don't know, like open source foundation, like Mozilla sort of thing,
But like I'm sure that's what like USB, for example, how it came to be, right?
Yeah. But even then, what's up with USB? Like, we still have the previous one. Now we have USB-C. But then iPhones are not using USB. Like, you buy an iPhone today, and it doesn't have USB-C. Like, what? Why? I don't get it.
You want to get into that? It's because you have to pay a premium to use their port. Sorry, you want to make an accessory for iPhone.
Right. Oh,
no. You have to pay a premium for that.
But is that the only reason? Like, they're just using Lightning to make money?
That and legacy. And because they're removing the brick as well. So they want to say that you don't need to buy a new brick, but they're actually just ripping you off and just not including the brick anymore.
Of course you need a brick, because otherwise you can't actually charge your phone.
But like they're saying you don't need to, like, you already, what you have at home from your previous iPhone already works for this new iPhone, which is not actually true, because the new iPhone comes with USB-C to Lightning, but it doesn't come with a brick, and the previous phone didn't have USB-C, so it doesn't work. Anyways,
No, I mean, like, that's okay. Like, they could have just said, we're saving some money. Like, we're not putting a charger with your phone, which is a bit crazy, to be fair. And that's, again, maybe where law should come in, because maybe you shouldn't be allowed to sell a device that, doesn't come with a way to charge it. But
at the same time, they have a point, like, but also AirPods are essentially like program obsolescence. Like, it's a device that has a 3-year shelf life, and then if you want to change the battery, you'll have to throw them away. So, like,
that's crazy. I'm almost regretting buying a pair now.
They're great.
They're nice. They're okay.
They're the best experience.
But they do fall off the ear for me. I don't know.
That's they do one model. You should try different earpieces, right?
Yeah, I think I did. I've already tried a couple of them. I don't know.
Fair enough. But yeah, I don't know, man. If we start getting to Apple being Apple, at the same time, they've fought to be where they are. Like, what other companies going to have their own ecosystem?
I respect it. I don't think it's their fault. Like, a company, I believe, will, in a capitalist market, will always do whatever it can to maximize profit, right? There's no way around that. So you can't just be like, oh, they're being evil, they're not putting a charger, or they're using Lightning. It's like, no, they're making, the most economical decision. Like, there's no other thing that you can expect from a public company. I think, if anything, it's just a failure on the regulatory bodies to say, well, in order to protect your customers, you need to do this. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
so again, I think that's what is happening right now with Spotify and Epic, and there's EU trials going on and stuff.
Exactly.
But yes. Okay. So what do you think about Apple taking 30% of all purchases made on apps?
Same thing. They're literally going to take as much as they can get away with taking. Like, that's just what a free market should look like. And then if it's not fair in some weird, I don't know, in some sort of way of being fair, then some judge should be like, well, actually it's not fair, because, I don't know, there's only this one market, and you're capitalizing on the monopoly that you've got. And then the European Union maybe will set some rules. And it's unfortunate that there's no universal way of setting these rules. Like, they're going to be set in Europe, but they're not going to be the same for the US. They're not going to be the same for Asia. So then, I guess for developers, that means that if they do win the suit, then in Europe it's going to be maybe like a 5% cut or something, or 10%. Then in the US it's going to be a 30%. I don't know.
I'm sure they'll do whatever makes sense the most. Well, obviously they make whatever makes the most sense economically, but if it's easier to just do it worldwide, do it worldwide, and if not, they'll just do it only for Europe. The same thing like with the cookie law, right? The GDPR. Even though GDPR was only for Europe, everyone in the world just ended up implementing it, because like you might as well, like that way I won't have to worry about where my users are, and
might as well put this banner. Asking for permission for cookies. Yeah, that's such a, I don't know. Maybe there should be a whole episode. I'm sure there's been like a lot of podcasts on GDPR. I just don't know. Like, what, like, I get the other parts of it. Like, it's really nice that you can ask a company to delete your data, for example. That's really cool. It's really cool that you can ask them for a copy of your data. But to put a notice that you're going to make a cookie, I don't know. That just feels so useless. Like,
yeah.
I mean, because also especially when there's like all these other, well, I guess nothing's as sticky as a cookie, but there's local storage, there's other things. I don't know if you saw it, but I think it was Google Analytics who said they were looking into dropping the requirement for cookies, so that you don't have to put the notice about the fact that you're gonna use
for
cookies.
Google Analytics. I didn't see this. No, I do know that Facebook changed that the moment the GDPR came out, and now it's the Facebook Pixel, right? And that doesn't require anything.
Which is stupid, because it's like, if you can still track, then technically you should have been within the same scope of GDPR, and then maybe you should still have to put a banner, Like, it shouldn't have been about the cookie itself. It should have been about what the cookie was doing.
Which I think they're still supposed to say, and you're still supposed to be able to know and all that stuff. But then it's Facebook. They went into the grayest area they could find, and then they made it work, right? Yeah. They have enough people, enough heads together to work that out. I still think it's amazing though, like how every barrier, even like a EU regulation, there's a solution, and that millions of companies use it.
It's what it is. It's a game of. I think there's a sentence
called game of chicken. Is it like no? Like when it chases the chicken and then the chicken.
When you kill one, another one pops up or something.
Yeah, that.
Guacamole.
Sure.
It's like the guacamole one, right? Where you hit one in one place and then.
Oh yeah. Never heard that one, but sure. But yeah, sure, guacamole. I just thought of guacamole, but yeah. Cool.
Yeah, no, but the other. I always thought it was the same as a sauce. Like is it a sauce or a dip? Anyway. Which topic out of all of the ones we've touched on should we go back to? Because we've been through a lot of things so far.
No, but it's been interesting. It's been a roller coaster, right? This happens, I think, between you and I quite a bit. Like we're not talking about so many things. So welcome to. We're still here in Not So Complicated, which we didn't say, by the way.
Are we gonna say that? Yeah.
We need to kind of like say it, right? Like we need to promote it, and we're back. We're in improving Alexa.
But that's where our intro is gonna come in. We don't have to say Not So Complicated because we're gonna have this intro. We don't have it yet.
Okay.
But we will have an intro, right? Which we could talk about as well in the episode when we introduce it. We could talk about the experience of using Fiverr.
Yes, we definitely need to talk about that and like how we could just make a podcast episode about how to set up a podcast. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Maybe, one like that as well. Although, maybe. I was just like,
okay.
Who's gonna we didn't research anything where we were starting the podcast. We kind of just as in we just Googled like how to host a podcast, like where to host it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe someone.
That's fair. Well, we can talk about it in that episode. But so. Let's recap. So Alexa's stupid. You need to understand better.
Sorry, Amazon.
And Apple is evil. And
but I mean, is it? I think
evil.
I think my point was also
smart.
Is it?
They're smart.
Is their evilness not just a consequence of the current economic market? That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Like we make companies do these things because it's all about maximizing profit.
So listen, I mean, I say evil, but. It's literally, I think, a little bit of jealousy that everyone has. Like, they're mean because they make very nice things and they make them expensive. And it's just, it's how it is. If they can, they should. So that's fine.
Exactly. The thing is, as soon as you become a publicly listed company, your job is to essentially maximize,
of course, the
value of the company. You want the shares to go up, and shares go up. Well, no one really knows why shares go up or down, but like... You do whatever you can to make them go up.
It's Fugazi.
It's Fugazi. I love that fucking movie. Man, I don't know if you ever do this, but I sometimes, like from time to time, I watch the first 20 minutes of Wolf of Wall Street. Like about the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie. I usually stop. Well, so I like to watch it until they start sort of chasing... the guy, I forgot his name, the main character. Until the FBI starts investigating and it starts to go downhill. Because the first 20 or 30 minutes, like all of that excess and like the ridiculousness and stuff, it's just really funny. Yeah. I don't know.
It is funny, yeah.
When he meets this guy, I forgot his name as well.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. Like that guy nails holy shit.
Mm-hmm. yeah. For those who haven't watched The Wall of Wall Street, go watch it. It's very good. Yeah.
And then watch the first 30 minutes from time to time.
I never do. Do you do that to like before work to get you excited every morning? You're like, come on.
Exactly.
And then just like, come on, get code in.
And then I walk into the office and do like 10 lines of.
Right.
No, I haven't been to an office in a year. I don't know what that was like.
Yeah, it's crazy. Someone was telling me today that they might go to the office, and I'm like, but the office is closed. And like, yeah, but come on, like, yeah, we can go.
Yeah, no, like it's cheeky. It's open, but for business critical needs, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It's been interesting to join a company but being remote, even though I've been remote for a long time. It's crazy. It's such a large company, especially.
Yeah.
That might be interesting to talk about sometimes, like remote work.
Remote work.
Yeah. I guess everyone's remote these days, but yeah.
Joining a company
it's not
remote.
The same.
Yeah. Like I mean, in my team now, there's 7 of us, and I've only met one in person. And it'll be at least a few months until we all meet. It's quite amazing.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be funny to listen back to this in a few months' time and be like, that was insane, right?
Or next year and be like, and then here we are, still working from home.
Still haven't met. Yeah. Remember that episode 1 year ago? Still haven't been to the office. No, come on. No.
To be fair, it has to get better. Imagine if it didn't. How many years could the world take of this sort of lifestyle? You know.
At what point do we just shift? Right?
Yeah.
It's like this is life now.
At what point someone goes like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go out. I don't care if I get infected. Like, because if there's imagine there's no vaccine or anything, and it just continues and be like this, like, I don't know, maybe 2 years. People just go like, you know what? Enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to parties.
Do you think that people would just like start different communities? Like young people would just move together, or like, because I've thought of that. Like imagine just like all people are at risk, and then only young people are safe. Maybe I'll just consider it like for the next 20 years that's gonna happen. It's like maybe let's just start a city of younger people, and then leave old people safer alone. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Although if you do it for 20 years, then if you do it for 20 years, you become the old people.
But then we're all together, then it's fine. I don't know.
I guess isolated communities or something.
Yeah, that's what
I guess if there was like if there was no cure, I guess the only solution is to actually isolate chunks of population or something like.
That'd be cool.
You close a city and you go like, okay, everyone within the city is fine or something.
And you don't allow anyone 1 day younger. They are the problem, because you're becoming older, right? At that point, so it's like that's it. No one else comes in.
It would be crazy.
It's this
good thing it's ending. Good thing it's ending this summer.
Yeah, no, it should be fine. I hope everyone listen out there is holding up. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Okay, yeah. So the recap before we went to the Wolf of Wall Street. Alexa needs to get better. Yeah, that's true. I don't know how they're going to get better. Like, what do you think would be the next step? Like, if the product manager of Alexa is listening to this right now, what do you think they're like, actually, they don't know they were working on this? I think they already are, like, decreasing price and increasing, like, adoption, right?
Yeah.
They're doing that quite well.
Price is fine. Adoption's fine. It's just learning. It doesn't... I think maybe the next big part of the thing they could do is make it learn. Like right now, they've made it in a way that's very, you say Alexa, then it starts listening, then you say a command, and when you stop talking, it parses your command and does whatever it can, and if it can't do anything, it just says, sorry, I didn't understand, and you need to go back to square one and say Alexa again, back to listening. So it's like a very transactional system where you start record, and then it parses your message. Like, if it got much better, it should be a conversation almost, right? Like you say, hey, Alexa, can you do this? And it's like, sorry, do you want me to do this or that? And you're like, oh, that. And it does it. Like, quick, right? It needs to be quick. Right now, it's very much like, Alexa, turn on the lights. And you have to be quite clear. And then it turns on the lights. And if it doesn't understand it, it'll be like, sorry, I didn't catch that. And it stops. And then you have to go back. And there's a setting where you can tell it to stay listening. It's called like follow-up mode. But then... Okay. Because it doesn't know, like,
when you start talking to it.
If you put it on follow-up mode and you say Alexa turn on the lights and it does it, then it's still waiting, so you have to say something like thank you for it to stop listening.
You may retire yourself to your quarters now.
literally. And if you forget to say thank you and you continue talking with someone or whatever, then it's gonna, like, 30 seconds later you hear her go like, sorry, I didn't understand what you said. What? And you're like, oh, sorry, I wasn't talking to you. Sorry, what? I didn't understand that. I'm like, stop, thank you. It's like, you're welcome. It's like,
like an aggressive service and like a bad waiter.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Well, it's like an overeager person trying to like please you or something. Like, sorry, what?
Right.
Sorry, what?
It's like just stop it.
Yeah,
Stop
like,
being
sorry.
such
I'm
a
no
kiss
longer.
ass, yeah.
I'm just not talking to you anymore. But you don't know, obviously.
Right.
And it must be hard because, I mean, I guess because it doesn't see anything. It's just like this person sitting in your room. Doesn't see anything of what's happening. It's just listening. Like if you say its name, then then it's supposed to work. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I guess it is complicated.
That's an interesting point of view. Like, imagine Designer and Alexa, like if you wear Alexa but with like no eyesight, right?
Yeah.
So like just you sitting there and being like, I'm gonna just process orders here. How do you know when it's for you, right?
Yeah, like it would work really well if you had a camera, but then it gets creepy, obviously, because no one wants a camera pointing at them, you know.
They have some devices with the camera, but with the screen, which they're useful, I think, for like the kitchen. People love them in the kitchen to have a call with like grandparents or whatever, or looking at a recipe. And they do a video call. Yeah, all that stuff.
The thing is, I wouldn't mind a camera or cameras in my house, you know, for an Alexa, as long as I knew that they had no connectivity to the internet, like literally nothing. They don't have the capability to actually connect. Like the only way, if the only way was to like plug them in on USB, if you want to update them or something. Because otherwise, imagine like I'm never gonna be quite comfortable, right? You always have this thing recording you. You don't know what if someone hacks it and then they're watching. Could be creepy.
Yeah. It doesn't help that I know for a fact. I think it was Google Mini. Don't quote me on this, everyone. I think it was Google Mini that it has a physical mute button, but the physical mute button doesn't mute physically the microphone. It just stops it from reacting, but it still listens to everything you say. Which is like, guys, come on, you have a physical button, make it switch off the fucking thing. Sorry.
No, it's the same. It's the same thing with Alexa. You kind of well with these devices in general, you basically acknowledge that there's a chance. I don't know how small or big, but there's a chance that everything you say might be recorded by someone.
Yeah, they're definitely creating a profile, right, of some sort.
And it could be. It doesn't have to be like maybe Amazon doesn't, and they probably don't, because they probably have some sort of. And I haven't read their privacy policy actually, but I assume it says something like it only records when you say Alexa, so it is listening locally, and then locally it listens for the word Alexa, and it doesn't actually send anything to the server unless you say the word Alexa. And I actually believe that. It might not be true, I don't know, but that's probably true. But even then, like no one can guarantee that some hacker is gonna hack it and then set the Alexa on like permanent recording mode and then send all the traffic to their server instead of Alexa's. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm gonna bet that they don't record as in like they can listen to you, but I'm betting that they're locally processing the audio at all times to create like a e-commerce profile. Like an anonymous one, but it's still based on your location, you know? Yeah.
Could be. But I mean, I guess it depends on their privacy policy, I imagine.
Sure.
Service.
Sure.
Like maybe, like you would hope they
don't.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bet they do, just because I've talked to enough people that work in this field. I know that at some point, a developer, there was this conference in Spain, and this I don't know what his field was. He was a very smart guy, and he got offered all the money to work on a project for Zara, where if you joined their free Wi-Fi, they would collect all the data. So then, the moment that you walked into the Zara with the Wi-Fi, you would get ads like pushed to you to your phone, just because you reconnected to the Wi-Fi, like forced. There was like a hack or something, and there was an actual project from an official company, not like a shady guy, in a shitty shop or whatever.
That's crazy.
So, and he turned it off. Turned it down. But I'm sure someone else picked up the job, right? So
the thing is, these things must work, right? Like, I guess people get that out, the ad on their phone, and some people buy something. Don't know.
Mate, like you know like when you go and the moment you land on a website, you get a model and it says like a pop-up, right? And it says like, God. Hey, buy something 10% off or something like, or like put your email for like 10% off or something. They work. They increase conversion. People get engaged. People start browsing. And it's 10%, like a 10% off coupon. You don't even know the prices. You just land on a thing. Yeah. And now they have your email. They can follow up and stuff. It increases conversion.
No, that's the thing. And given enough volume, any percentage of increased conversion is already profitable, right? Like even 1%, 2% increase, that's probably good enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. The problem is that does it pair with the values of your company? Are you getting the audience that you wanted to get, or are you getting a different audience? You know.
How many companies have values? Right? How many companies? Well, a lot of companies have values. How many companies act based on their values?
That is a good question. Yes.
Because
it's so profit at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. It's so easy to just say, these are values, but acting on, like, following them, I don't know.
On them. Yeah. I mean, I feel like yes and no. I feel like if it's extremely shady and companies are, have good morals, they usually don't do it. They'll, there's this question, right? And I think this is an interesting idea actually for another podcast. Like, what is marketing but like hacking people's psychology? Like, we're not doing anything else but like getting to the right people and making it shouty enough for them to be like, ooh, I actually need this, even though they never needed it. They've been living without it for like decades, but now they need it, right? We just discovered it. You're creating this need. So it's hacking the psychology. So that's fine. I think that's acceptable because that's just, we've managed to learn how to do that with, being better professionals, but there's a difference between these and just lying to the user, making them think. Like, I remember one case that actually Instagram blocked, but I thought it was very smart. Like on ads on Instagram stories, you have to swipe to open the link on the story, right? Yeah. So they put a hair on the image of the ad.
That's great.
So then
that's pretty great.
It worked. It like created so much conversion, like it's insane. But like that's shady, Like that's not like trying to make it appealing.
Did it convert? Because that's like, did it actually turn into people who paid?
It made profit, yeah.
That's crazy.
Because it's just more screens. It's more eyes.
Yeah, because once you get them to your page, you can, there's a higher chance maybe that they buy something. I don't know. I love how most...
They're not in it. They have to opt out.
So, I love how most ads on Instagram, at least the one, like for shops, tend to say something along the lines of, we're closing down 70% clearance sale, last few items, and it's like, the first time I saw one, I actually opened it and I was like, oh, this is great. This shop is closing, everything's 70%. I was about, I think I bought something actually, and it wasn't great. It was really bad quality stuff. And then I kept seeing some ads like that, and I realized that was probably some business model that some people have, where you start a Shopify website, you put some crap that you buy from some really cheap retailer, probably overseas, and then put some ads on Instagram, make it sound like, you're like some sort of really organic, like hipster shop. You're just closing, so everything's 70% off, and that's it. Like, you've got yourself a deal. Some people will buy that stuff.
Yeah, you got yourself some business.
Close the shop after a couple of months, so people don't have like time to return the crap that you've given them.
I know a guy that does this in Oviedo. Actually, is friends with Berto, which you might remember. Yeah. And they make, I know he makes like 3K a month, and this is for Oviedo, right? And
that's crazy.
Right? So it's just insane.
Yeah.
And they do this over and over. Like, there's maybe once a month.
Exactly.
Once a month they just change it up. They invest like maybe 3K in Instagram ads. They make 20K, whatever it is.
Yeah, it seems like a really simple thing to push, to make it happen. Like, you could almost automate most of the process, I guess, right? Like you just grab a bunch of products from AliExpress or one of these websites, something that looks decent enough, then take some extremely good photos for your ads.
Yes.
If it's clothes, like people wearing the clothes, like really whatever. And that's it. Like set up a Shopify website in a couple of days and you're up and running.
Exactly. I think it's key to take those like nice pictures, right? If you have a model, then it makes it easier.
Exactly.
Like you can make such a...
if you make the whole thing look really professional and you have really professional looking ads and you have a very nice discount running, basically you just say that the shop is closing or whatever, it could actually work fairly easily, I think.
Yeah.
Be interesting to try as an experiment.
I think what these guys say is the most important bit is that you don't just like do it once, make some money, move on. It's like you do kind of like 5 or 6 and you discover what niche works. So in many of them just the money is gone. You lost money because you have to put some of it in ads, right? So they put maybe like 500 on each of the like niche audiences. They set up 5 websites for 5 ads. Or like maybe 5 websites with like different audiences, right? So in different places or different people, whatever. And then see which ones work. So maybe they invest a ton of money there, but then they'll know that, okay, so this one has like, I don't know, 20% return on investment or whatever. Yeah, not 20%, 120. And then you go and invest like crazy on that one until it stops making money. So they might keep going for like 3 months and be like, oh, okay, so now it's summer. They don't care about this stuff or whatever it is, or the audience change there, or
imagine if you manage to automate the whole thing so that if I don't know if you can, right? But let's assume that you can create ads on Instagram automatically, like with code, and that you can set up a Shopify website as well with code, and that you can buy stuff from Chinese, I don't know, AliExpress, automatically as well. And you just sort of make this thing where you give it like 10K of cash, and then this thing will like start creating ads, and you've got some sort of templates so that the ads look nice, and it just grabs like the product from there, the thing from here. Maybe it's like one of those sort of AI things where it's you give it like a lot of ads and then it knows how to generate an ad automatically or something, like the photo for it. Some crap like that. That would be so cool. And then it just sees which one works. As soon as one works, it creates the Shopify website, puts it all together, starts like pumping the products in there. This would be like so weird.
Sounds awesome, and like something that definitely will happen at some point.
Yeah.
I think the only blocker is the pictures, the photos for the product.
It's how good can you make it? Can you get the auto-generated ones to look? That's all it. And
from the pictures from like the retailer,
so essentially
that are probably terrible.
Yeah, so it looks at those and somehow you can something that can have a fairly bad photo from the retailer and turn it into a really cool Instagram ad photo.
Well, depends on how shady you want to get, because there's plenty of people. I'm sure you've heard of cases that they don't even give you the stuff that you saw on the website, right? True.
I mean, that's even shadier, or even better. What if this whole system uses part of its budget to hire someone on Fiverr to generate the ads? Because for 10 quid, right, you can actually get like I'm sure you can get a graphic designer to do a design.
Yes, for sure.
Damn.
It's an idea. And yet again, so for the audience listening, I think Alex and I always have this kind of ideas, and then they just sit somewhere and like, oh, that'd be really awesome, and then we never really pull them off. Sometimes,
this one will be interesting, but it's a bit of a. I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's fraudulent, because you're basically just selling. There's no, as long as you're not deceiving anyone, right? Like, as long as the ad does it. I mean, obviously the ad's gonna make the product look better. As long as the product in the ad is the original product.
I got you.
Technically,
Yeah. There's the theory of it all, which is what we're discussing, and then what we would do would be obviously the nice version of it, right? Like just getting something that is not marketed well and marketing it to the right audience, but it's still a nice product. I actually thought of doing this, but just with like one like permanent audience, like actual nice quality this is drop shipping essentially.
Yeah,
what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But like a sporadic kind of like drop shipping, like
right.
like jump in markets and stuff. But I would be very much interested in like trying to develop an audience in like a specific kind of like market of things kind of like I like, but like
as in so finding like good cheap stuff.
Yeah.
Overseas somewhere and then selling it, right?
Yeah, so I looked into that actually, and the main problem with that is that over time the retailer is unreliable.
Yeah.
So then you have orders, and then those orders that can't be sent, and then you also have to deal with customer support and refunds, and it's like
To be honest, selling physical goods seems like a nightmare. I mean, like in terms of
I agree
of work, like because when there's the happy path, and that's awesome. You know, someone puts the order in, you order the product arrives, you're done. But then there's all the other paths, and there's so many points of failure, and there's like most of them are out of your control as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Refunds are just so expensive as well.
Yeah.
And like if you sell EU, you need to give like so many guarantees, right? It's tricky, and the customer support, man, that's expensive.
Yeah.
So if you allow all that, and if you don't, then it starts becoming shady, and if it starts becoming shady, your reviews might go down. So it's really like a very temporary campaign.
But that's where you go into the automated shops. As soon as the reviews are bad, closes the shop, starts up a new shop.
Jump ship. Okay.
Yeah, automated dropshipping.
You could even create a new company just so you find new files.
The whole thing's new. Like it's all scripted. So like you press a button, you give it some cash, and the thing goes like, cool, I'm in. You know.
It sounds great. I'm down.
It's super unethical.
If you do all the code, I'm down.
Super unethical.
It is. But it happens. It happens right now. Yeah. It's crazy. Like this is what people. When I worked at this garment printing company, right? Like this is what people in Vietnam were doing. They had 20 designers, and they were like, "Okay, give me 100 designs. There's like a new season of this series coming out. Give me 100 designs. We're gonna put 500 euros on each of them." And it's like a lot of money. And then like they realize that one or like two of them make like a ton of money, and then they just invest 10K on each. And then they make like 50K or 100K in a month.
Yeah.
And this is in Vietnam, so they like the cost is nothing.
Yeah, it's a clear business model. I don't know. It's not easy, I'm sure. Otherwise, like you would, I assume a lot of people would be getting way richer than they are. But there seems to be a lot of people doing this. I don't know. Although I don't know if there's a lot of people doing it, or there's just a lot of people talking about doing it on YouTube ads. Because I get so many YouTube ads about dropshipping.
Me too, man. Me too. I think a few people got rich.
Yeah.
I think there's also a lot of money in teaching, coaching these days.
It's the easy one because there's no risk, There's no risk. You just tell people how to get rich.
You get what you pay for. It's a scalable, right? Digital learning. You pay if you sign up to the course. You pay to access the video. That's it. If you don't get anything out of it, it's not my fault. You got access to the video, so that's all.
Anyway,
crazy.
It's a good moment to start wrapping up. We've done our usual episode length.
It is,
yeah.
Have we? It's been an hour. Well, I feel like it's been.
Yeah, it's been like 52 minutes so far ish.
52 minutes. Wow, we'll look at that. Okay. Cool. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It's been very varied today, but I kind of liked it, to be honest.
Yeah, we could even write a description of, from Alexa to dropshipping and everything in between.
And everything in between. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Very catchy.
Yeah,
I like it. All right. But I think we managed actually to stay on the weekly schedule, which I'm very impressed with, even though it's very close.
We still need to publish it.
We
still need to publish it this week.
I'm sure we can.
Yeah,
manage
we will manage that.
Yeah, we'll pass through.
I think the description could be: join us to see how Alexa, lightning cables, list everything we've talked about, and dropshipping are all connected.
Right. Nice. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. So tune in next week for more.
See you next week, Jaime.
See you next week. All right.